let's just start with the basics. What is considered a disability here in the city of Los Angeles?
Under the ADA, it's having a physical or mental impairment that impacts a major life activity. And a major life activity is hearing, seeing, talking, standing, learning, walking, bending over, your body working, your circulatory system, your respiratory system. It's really very broadly defined, and we try and support anybody with a disability. We have an ADA division that works mostly with other departments and to help them make their programs, activities, and facilities accessible. Everything from sign language interpreting to captioning and so on. We have the city's AIDS Coordinator's Office. They run the city's AIDS prevention and education programs, including the city's syringe exchanges and overdose prevention. The Durable Medical Equipment Program is something in our Community Outreach and Education division. It literally provides equipment for people with disabilities. We're trying to be a provider of last resort. So if somebody needs a wheelchair or a walker or a rollator, practical things people need on a day-to-day basis that it might take months for them to apply for state benefits or federal benefits, for example. We try and get those to Angelenos. In emergency situations, that whole world changes. My department is very invested in emergency preparedness, response, and recovery, and the fires really brought that out. So the DME program, temporarily we provided hospital beds. We worked on emergency backup batteries for people who had equipment that might lose power or had lost power. And these were really life-saving endeavors. Well, we spent hundreds of hours in the Emergency Operations Center. We go into the shelters and make sure they're accessible and try and reach out directly to people with disabilities who are in that kind of space. So my team does extraordinary work.
How is our transportation as far as people with disabilities are concerned?
It's such a high need that it's a tough mandate to get there. So we've got LADOT and our bus systems, we've got Metro and the train system. The beauty is, for example, the trains are much newer than a New York or a Washington. And so we actually have a much more accessible rail route. Our buses are generally accessible, but it's important that we make sure, for example, all our drivers are trained. I have a colleague, I believe he lives in the city of West Hollywood, who has got cerebral palsy, and it's hard for him to board a bus. And he does not use a walker or a wheelchair. He doesn't like to, he can, he does sometimes. And he's gotten to a bus and asked for them to put the ramp down and been told, well, you don't have a wheelchair. We don't have to do that. I said, well, no. You actually have to do it for anybody that needs that ramp to access it. So sometimes it's education. Again, I think most of our drivers are well trained for city and county or city and metro. But a lot of it's just education. Transportation is huge.
And are the Olympics and the FIFA World Cup, are those things you look to and go, okay, this is our drop-dead moment. We have to have X amount of things done by this time. We have to.
The games are going to have an extraordinary impact on Los Angeles. So the Olympics and Paralympics, the FIFA World Cup, they got a Super Bowl in between there. These already are becoming a driver to make sure accessibility is in place. And we're trying to work with that. The hitch is the scale it needs to be done on is truly extraordinary. But I got to actually travel to Rio for the Paralympics, which was a wonderful moment, and actually sit in on the conversations with the International Paralympic Committee and International Olympic Committee. And you're competing against other cities. You're trying to sell why your city is the best for the Olympics and Paralympics. But at the same time, you're also trying to figure out how the Olympics and Paralympics are going to really change the legacy of the city you're in. It's the legacy energy. And our legacy, we want accessibility to be one of those top 4 or 5 items, where this city will be physically more accessible, will be digitally more accessible, and the attitude and understanding of Angelenos about inclusion and accessibility will be greater than it's ever been.